Hi, this is Brad Constantine, and this is a podcast recording of the Old Testament. Although this is not an official recording of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, every effort's been made to be as doctrinally accurate as possible. I'll be using for the text the Joseph Smith translation of the Old Testament, along with many commentaries from general authorities of the Church, BYU professors, Bible scholars, and others. This format will be very detailed, and so if you want a deep analysis of the Old Testament, you come to the right place. Thanks for your attendance. Hi there, this episode is going to be for 1 Kings chapter 3. Now, a lot of the verses in this chapter happen to be changed by the Joseph Smith translation, so that's the one we're going to be using. And the Lord was not pleased with Solomon, for he made affinity or marriage alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter to wife and brought her into the house of David until he had made an end of building his own house and the house of the Lord and the wall of Jerusalem round about. And the Lord blessed Solomon for the people's sake only. The marriage between Solomon and the Pharaoh's daughter to make a treaty with Egypt, this showed a lack of faith on Solomon's part to trust that the Lord would defend Israel. According to Jewish tradition, the daughter of Pharaoh actually became a Jewish proselyte, and that was by Edersheim. Verse 2, And the people sacrificed in high places because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord until those days. And because the Lord blessed Solomon, as he was walking in the statutes of David his father, he began to love the Lord, and he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places, and he called on the name of the Lord. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for Gibeon was in a great high place, and Solomon offered upon that altar in Gibeon 1,000 burnt offerings. This is where the tabernacle was located. And the Lord hearkened unto Solomon, and appeared unto him in a dream by night, and said, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, Thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great things, according to thy mercy, as when he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with thee, and thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father, over thy people. And I know not how to lead them to go out or come in before them. And I, thy servant, am a little child. Remember, he's about 20 when he takes over as king. In the midst of thy people, whom thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy people, that so great a people? If any of us are imperfect, it is our duty to pray for the gift that will make us perfect. Have I imperfections? I am full of them. What is my duty? To pray to God to give me the gifts that will correct these imperfections. They are intended for this purpose. Every defect in the human character can be corrected through the exercise of faith and pleading with the Lord for the gifts that he has said he will give unto those who believe and obey his commandments. And that was by George Q. Cannon. Verse 10, And the speech pleased the Lord, and that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment, behold, I have done according to thy words, or to thy word. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none made king over Israel like unto thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, then I will lengthen thy days, and thou shalt not walk in unrighteousness as did thy father David. Because Solomon did not keep the commandments, he did not live a long life. He died at the age of about 59 or 60. That was by Edersheim. Verse 15, And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream, and he came to Jerusalem, and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings, and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Dividing of the child incident is coming up here. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it, or laid upon it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and thy son is the living. And my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one, and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to be judged, to do judgment. So that's the story of the splitting of the baby, and I'm sure you've all heard of it before. Anyway, that's the end of the chapter. We'll see you next time. Bye.